Okay. So yesterday we covered about the packet flow and logic of the next generation firewall. And today we will start with again the little bit recap. So we understood that the ingress stage and flow lookup, session table lookup, session table, connection table, and flow table. Those are similar meaning. And next check will be the slow path. Okay, so session setup state, zone protection, route table, net table security, DDoS policy. These are major check and perform at slow path in a stateful firewall. Okay, each and everything will happen in the fast path in next generation firewall. If the entry is already exist in the session table, if there is no entry, then it will take. Let's assume we were speaking yesterday that each and every packet will take the 2 second, but in fast path it will take only 1 second. Okay, normally any stateful firewall will process packet as uh, that I not included the app ID and content ID yesterday. So these are two more big stages because your send request is not having any type of app or app related data or any type of layer 7 data. So here app ID and the content ID are bypass. Okay, yesterday we were discussion on this here. So in between the router and server here, if you will assume, so it will check each and everything. And I'm opening the pen. So suppose this is the server and this is the client. In between there is a router and working as a firewall. Just you have applied the access control list or net policy here. So it will process the packets on slow path. But if there is a stateful firewall like Palo Alto firewall or Fortinet firewall, so they will process the packet on fast path. So it will reduce the overhead and bandwidth also. Okay, so when the firewall will receive a packet, it will extract layer 2 information, layer 3 information from the packet, and it will basically start checking the header errors. All these tasks. So what it used to do generally, when the firewall receives a packet, it needs to perform flow lookup or session table lookups. So what it used to do, the session lookup, it has source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, L3 port, and that is let's assume 6. So source zone, suppose this is the zone based firewall. So inside zone and outside zone, source zone and destination zone. Since this is a TCP traffic, so the layer 3 protocol number will be 6 for the TCP protocol. And we already know that we received this packet on firewall. Okay, so inside interface and this in outside interface, there will be the part of source zone and let's assume. So we have source zone and destination zone. So it will follow these 6 tuples, but I am displaying here these. Okay, so these are called as 6 tuples. In each and every next generation firewall, they are using the 5 tuples or 4 tuples. But the next generation firewall or Palo Alto firewall, they are using 6 tuple or 7 tuple also. Okay, so we have 6 tuple information of the session table or flow table, and now the firewall will run the MD5 hash, and on this information, it will basically generate one key which is known as flow key, and we can say here flow key 1. Okay, whatever the example we were discussing yesterday. So here in between, it will generate the flow key. Suppose this is the firewall, and this is the source, and this is the destination. So it will generate the flow key. Okay. So on the basis of this flow key, it will basically check this particular session table, and after the full inspection, it will decide where to go, and it will decide to drop the packet, or how to process the packet. Okay. So they will make the entry, and they will maintain the database that is called MongoDB database. So keep in mind, Palo Alto uses the MongoDB database because to store the information beneath the database, so it is using the MongoDB database. So now they are maintaining the flow table, or why they are maintaining the flow lookup. Let's try to understand. Uh, Yesterday we discussed about the TCP three-way handshake, or let's say four-way handshake. So I think all are understood about it. If anybody is having any issue or any problem, you can connect with me one-on-one. So I will brief about this TCP three-way handshake and four-way handshake. Okay, and for the history of this firewall, so there was an engineer in 1993. The name is Nerjuk. So he was working in the checkpoint, and he was the he was working on the net screen firewall. So he combined, he resigned from the job and combined the net screen firewall and the Linux operating system. Before that, or till that time, ASA was very popular, but he did very lot of work in the lab, and launched their own product that is called Palo Alto Firewall. So Palo Alto Firewall, the person Nerjuk, he is from US, but basically he is the Israeli American. So he launched this firewall. I'm not going in this firewall history because it will take time. If you want to learn about the firewall history, how they assembled multiple engines, and how they did the lab, and how they launched and relaunched this firewall, so it will take time. So you can go and search about the history in the internet. You will have the entire history over the internet. Okay. So okay. So we have to say visibility into all traffic. So Palo Alto network firewalls, they will see all traffic, whether the traffic is encrypted or unencrypted. They will still be able to see it, because if you don't see the traffic encrypted that is going around your network, so it follows some parameters just like network security. Palo Alto to all network next generation firewalls can identify all traffic based on application, users, content, and devices. So you can find out the interesting traffic, find application, which, what, or who is using that application, and then create the security rules to allow or deny such application or traffic, uh, or or maybe just alert there is that is not a sort of application to a particular user. Okay. And another thing is that advanced endpoint protection, it provides the multiple method prevention, both known as known as, and unknown threats directly, or an endpoint. And another thing, it provides the cloud security. So BM series firewalls are designed for use in virtualized or cloud environments. Panorama is nothing. This is the firewall manager. So if you have the standalone firewall on a single site, so you no need to use the Panorama. You can directly manage the single Palo Alto firewall through its GUI. But if you have the bunch of firewalls in multiple locations, so it will be very difficult to keep in mind all the things, or management IP addresses, and credentials, or any other attributes of the firewall. So the firewall manager is the best thing. So Panorama is the firewall manager. Okay, so actually Panorama is not a firewall, it's a management interface of the firewall. So you can manage from the centralized or single point. Okay, another thing is Aperture. So SaaS based service that protects cloud based applications such as Box, Salesforce, and Dropbox, etc. Aperture is focused on data loss prevention on these applications, or DLP, for personally identifiable information, PII, or payment card industry, PCI information. So just like user is doing the transaction, so it will protect. Another thing is Global Protect. It is similar to the remote access VPN or any connect VPN. If you will ask about the ASA. So it inspect all traffic and using internet gateways in the next generation firewalls. Autofocus. This service is a part of Threat Intelligent Cloud. It direct access to all the threat intelligent Palo Alto networks. It gathers from customer and then unit 42 threat research. Okay, there is a team that unit 42. Okay, Mindment allows you to aggregate a threat intelligence. Mindment can filter, unduplicate, and consolidate metadata across all resources. Another thing is application framework and logging service. So application framework apps can create it and develop on a common application framework logging service, that central cloud-based repository for all application data and logs. So no additional processing power and storage. Actually, can you please mute yourself? Okay, so now we are coming on the Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so Ben, Nerjok and their team, they introduced the firewall, this Palo Alto firewall. This was the first firewall which is supporting the app ID feature. Before that, nobody or no firewall was evaluating the app ID. Okay, so user ID feature and app ID feature and content ID. So there was no product in the market who can evaluate or inspect the app ID, user ID, and the content ID feature just in the one box. Okay, as I told in first day session, if you want to use all these features, you will put the legacy firewall on top of that UTM and WSA appliance and the IPS, IDS, intrusion prevention and detection systems. So each and every device will perform these checks. But here in Palo Alto, these all things are combined in one shot, in one box. Okay, but before this, you have purchased ASA, IPS, antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability protection, AMP for malware protection, WSA for URL filtering. And that time, no firewall who is providing all these features just in same box. But Palo Alto launched and they included all these features in one box. Okay, so the name of Palo Alto OS, that is PAN OS. PAN OS is customized version of BSD Linux. So all the commands are CLI based. Okay, BSD Linux was open source flavor, and they have done the customization, removed and added some services and daemons. After doing the customization, they have basically added the PAN application loaded code. They have added PAN application package on customized OS version of the BSD Linux. So the kernel of Palo Alto OS is Linux environment. If you run multiple commands, okay, show system software status. Okay, so you will see a lot of commands and daemons are showing here. So you will see these all are the daemons. So these are multiple processes and services and their groups. You can use individually, stop, start, and manipulate. So you will see this bunch of services similar to Linux, and these are daemons. There are two modes in Linux: user mode and the root mode. Okay, but here these all are daemons. Okay, if I will hit the configure, okay, so I am in configuration mode, but don't think I am in root mode. No, this is not the root mode. Okay, but there are two modes: user mode and root mode. So if we are logging into CLI, then we are logging into user level or Palo Alto application level, because root access is restricted at the normal user level in Linux. Okay, the Linux BSD level are not able to log in at root level. In this Palo Alto firewall devices, only Palo Alto tech people with layer 3 or higher layer can log into the root mode of the firewall. By default, root mode is disabled. Nobody can log in except their team. Okay. Okay. These are many models. Okay. So you can go ahead and whenever you need the data and cheat sheet and all the information about the Palo Alto firewall versions, so you will see the many versions. But here I can say at this stage, there are three types of appliances in market: hardware firewalls, VM series firewalls, and the CN series firewalls. So these are many models you will see in the internet. Okay. And these two are Palo Alto firewall panorama version. These two are the panorama series. Okay. So definitely you have the question in your mind. You are very sure about the hardware firewalls and the VM series firewalls, but what are the CN series firewalls? It is the question here. Okay, so cloud native series, at the abbreviation of the CN. So support Docker, it supports Dockers and Kubernetes, which means you can run Palo Alto firewall as a Docker instance in your Kubernetes. And for that, you have to go with the CN series firewalls. This is the feature, and this is the virtualization with the Palo Alto firewalls. CN series provides visibility and security to containerized application workloads, natively integrates into Kubernetes clusters. It provides layer 7 visibility, application layer level segmentation, DNS security, and advanced threat protection. It protects traffic across zone in public cloud and data center environments. Okay, so for this panorama, there are multiple models: M200 series, M300 series, M500 series, M600 series, and till M700. There are multiple models in panorama also. Okay, so for here, you will understand. So no need to go in deep here. But for a small level organizations, you will see the Palo Alto models are available: PA200 and PA400, 1400, like that. So in 200, you will see another sub models 220 or 220H. And for middle level organization, PA800 to PA3400. But for data center level, if you are going, so PA4000 and PA5200 series, 7000 series, they are data center level firewalls. Okay. Another, this is the very important thing in Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so this is the single pass software and parallel processing. And as I know till now, there is not any other product available in the market who are doing the inspection and the hardware design like this. Okay, so I'm not going in very deep, but I'm opening the notepad. Okay, so suppose, just understanding these things quickly. This is your interface module. Okay, so all are copper ports. Okay, behind the copper ports, you will there is a hardware. So the marble chip here. I'm not writing complete name. Marble chip. And for SFP modules, these are the fiber ports. Okay, so for fiber ports, there is another chip that is called a Petra chip. Okay, this is the Petra chip. Okay, and behind this there are another chip, that is Tiger chip or another Liger chip. Okay, and behind the Tiger chip, here is the DP CPU, and this is the Octane chip. Okay, and behind this there will be the Jaguar chip. Okay, these are the chip. So what it does, here you will connect your cables. Okay, either fiber port or either your copper port. So traffic will go like this, and it will enter the marble chip. Marble chip will manage this your line card only. After that, it will go to the Tiger chip or Liger chip. Okay, at the last you will see here Jaguar chip. What it does: app ID, content ID, TFA, and the profile scanning, all the things this Jaguar chip will do. Okay, so these all chips are having their own CPU and memory. Okay, so Palo Alto uses a lot of things. Then they will sell their product to the customer, and Palo Alto is only the device who has this type of architecture. So now I think you understood as a concise on first view how the mechanism here. Packet will go here and it will process on multiple stages. So let's assume, you can assume these are the multiple ASICs or chips. So these chips are doing the separate roles in one shot. Okay. So in Palo Alto firewall, if you want to learn more about it, so I will tell you one on one. Okay. So there are two planes here in Palo Alto firewall. One is, okay, our meeting will end in 10 minutes, so all can rejoin again on the same link. Okay, so one is control plane and another is data plane. So control plane is the management plane. Okay, so it has its own CPU, RAM, and hard disk. So your control plane is separate. Okay, so this control plane is the management plane. Here they are writing also. So you can control and manage this firewall. Okay, so if there is a high processing or anything happening, so plane will not affect. So similarly, data plane will have its own CPU, RAM, and hard disk. Okay, so if you are thinking here, these are the networking, security, and content. Okay, so these all chips are having their own CPU and RAM separately. Okay, so your data plane is divided into three other planes. So we can say this data plane have three another chips. These are dedicated hardware chipsets. One is networking processor, another thing is security processor, third one is a content engine. or the signature match processor or security matching processor. There are 3-4 names of this. So this content engine also known as signature match processor or the pattern match processor. The management plan has its own jobs to do, own task to do, and your data plan will also have own tasks to do. They are not dependent on each other. They will not disturb to each other. Okay, so here is the question. Suppose a user is initiating an interesting traffic towards the Facebook. Then which plan will handle this traffic? So the answer is your management plan is not responsible. Your data plan will process this packet in this case. This is completely separate. Here, another diagram of that control plan and data plan. So this is very important thing in Palo Alto firewall SP3. Okay, so here this is again another diagram of the processors, security processor, hardware offload, and network processor. Okay, and this is another diagram of physical box of PA500 series firewall. Okay, so here it is using multiple chips. So if anybody is interested to understand about these things, so I will tell you one on one. This is the packet flow we covered yesterday. Okay, so URL filtering. Now the URL filtering, it covers two things: URL and URI. What is the URI and what is the URL? There are difference. So it inspects packet based on the URL and URI both. Okay. Okay. So if you will log into your Palo Alto firewall here, this thing here. So here this is the admin @ Palo Alto 2_a, Palo Alto _a. So here, if you will see here, this is the username, this is the host name, and this is the action, this is the subsection and element. So system info, it will display the system information. Okay. Now I'm coming to the licensing part of the Palo Alto firewall. So support means support license. Your device, your box should have the support license in the licensing bundle. So it includes tag plus software update. If your device don't have that license, it will not support for software update or tech support. And now logging into the Palo Alto device. Okay, so another thing is that subscription. So subscription is nothing. That is the next generation firewall feature in Palo Alto. To access next generation features, including the ability to receive content updates that is periodically reviewed by the Palo Alto. Okay. and some sub features of the next generation firewall subscription. If I will check here and go to the licenses, so it will display the licenses here. We don't have any license. This is the only test environment, so we don't have any license. We are just learning about the Palo Alto. That's why here we are not using. We are using the just simple box virtual firewall. So you will see what are the types of licenses here. If you have the threat prevention license, so it will show under the subscription. So antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability protection, okay, built-in external dynamic list that you can use to secure your network against malicious hosts. Ability, it's having the ability to identify infected hosts that try to connect to malicious domains. Advanced threat protection and prevention includes comprehensive exploit malware and command and control protection, and can use the threat vault to search the latest threat that Palo Alto network next generation firewalls can detect and prevent. Another thing is the URL filtering. We were showing the URL and the URI. So URL category, web-based filtering, and the data filtering, where you can allow or block URL based on categories. We will discuss, and I will show you the lab about the URL filtering and with the access control list or another policy application. Another thing is wildfire. So wildfire is the important thing in Palo Alto. So it is the industry's largest cloud-based malware protection engine that uses machine learning and crowdsourced intelligence to instantly prevent up to 95% or more of unknown malware variants in line without compromising business productivity and keeping our organization protected. If new malware, virus, or new malicious code, then it will send it to sandboxing. Okay. Another thing is analysis technique, threat data, real-time protection, signature updates, file type forwarding, wildfire API, advanced wildfire, and standalone wildfire API. These are the licenses features and sub features. Okay. Another thing of the Palo Alto, that is global protect. So it is more than a VPN. It provides flexible, secure, remote access for all users everywhere or from anywhere. Global Protect is a network security client from Palo Alto Networks that protects a mobile workforce by extending the next